Am I the a-hole for telling my friends they kind of put a damper on my husband's birthday weekend by bringing their baby? Last weekend, my husband turned 35. We had two things planned: Friday, a dinner with some friends, and Sunday, an outdoor festival. We invited our two friends who have a 1-year-old daughter. The restaurant we chose was not kid-friendly. It's super small, and the main draw is the chef. There is no set menu, and seat are all like a bar around a little kitchen where you can watch him cook, and he plates the food for you right there. The festival is outdoors in the middle of the woods. Not stroller-friendly kids are allowed, but it's more or an adult event. They have been there before, so it's not a surprise to them. When we invited them to both days, we told them both things were not kid-friendly, explained the restaurant to them, and sent them the website so they could see what it was all about. We told them understood if they couldn't make it because of the baby. They said they would be at both. I assumed as parents who live around the corner were watching the baby. We made reservations for the restaurant and bought our tickets. Friday night comes, and they show up to the restaurant with their daughter. I didn't include her in the reservation, and they did not have any high chair, so she had to sit in her mom's lap the entire time. She usually gets pretty overwhelmed with the baby to begin with. She was annoyed about the baby sitting in her lap and not being able to enjoy her dinner, annoyed there was no kids menu, and was just in a bad mood the entire time. Really put a downer on the entire dinner. Baby cried. She had to get up and go outside. At one point, her husband asked me to go check on her outside. They kind of left quickly when dinner was over and said, "We will see you Sunday." Then Sunday comes, and again they show up with the baby. They again are annoyed that it's not stroller friendly. Constantly stopping. Baby needs to eat, baby needs to be changed, baby is crying. We kept telling them that we would share a location and they could meet up with us after they did whatever they had to do with the baby, but they would get all huffy, so we ended up staying with them. We didn't get to do half the things there because we were parked under a tent at the table most of the time. Parts of the festival they couldn't bring the stroller because once again it was in the woods. At one point I had to hold the baby while she fed her. Just the entire day was centered around taking care of their baby, and it was not fun at all. Once again, they have come to this festival with us previous years, so they knew what it was all about. She texted me yesterday saying she had fun over the weekend, and she was sorry if the baby ruined everything. I told her it wasn't ruined, but it was a little frustrating because we warned them the activities weren't baby-friendly and we missed out on a lot of things. The festival is once a year, so it's not like we can go back another time. She got super defensive and said sorry, they are parents now and have more important things to worry about. We haven't talked since, and I feel bad and like everything is super awkward now, and I should have kept my mouth shut. Not the a-hole. They are parents now, but not all events are child-friendly. They should have known better and either declined or gotten a babysitter. Baby cried. She had to get up and go outside. At one point, her husband asked me to go check on her outside. He had to go check in his wife and baby? I hope you didn't go. Please tell me you didn't go. Not the a-hole, and next time, just don't invite them. If they ask why, be upfront. You aren't losing friends. They're pushing you guys away. Opie replies, I didn't. This is a pattern. I've been at barbecues with them where husband will ask every woman there to go help wife change the baby rather than do it himself. You should have left them to tend the baby and go to the parts of the festival you wanted to go to. Stop being a doormat. Yes, they have bigger priorities now, so they can focus on their priority. You don't have to. Make your own day. Don't expect others to make it for you when clearly they don't care about your fun. Now you're worried things are awkward. People won't hear the message unless it makes them uncomfortable. It's okay for things to be awkward. They'll survive. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife why our daughter doesn't trust her? Lurker here. So for the last few years, me 36 and my wife 34 have had a very strained relationship due to the way my daughter and wife interact. It started when my daughter was 13. She came to her mother and confided her feelings about our family friend's son. My wife decided that this was too cute to share and told everyone during a family barbecue, including the boy. This embarrassed my daughter, and I told my wife to stop as this made our daughter upset, but my wife justified it at the time because they were just kids. I've always known my wife has a hard time keeping secrets, but I thought she would have at least tried since this was a touchy subject, especially for a growing teenager with her first real crush. After this incident, I started noticing things like this more, like my wife openly telling everyone our daughter's business. Admittedly, most of these incidents were unnoticed by me for years because they were usually conversations between my wife and her friends when I wasn't around, as she didn't like it when I interrupted girl time. However, I am noticing more now, like my wife telling everyone about my daughter's business, like texts, phone calls, and other secrets that she told her mom in the past when believing they wouldn't be told. As everything progressed, my daughter started getting closer to me more, and I became the default parent who deals with medical issues, school drama, and crushes. Which has upset my wife because my daughter refuses to have girl talk with her anymore and is usually cold and doesn't like spending time with her. My wife decided to try and punish our daughter after finding out she got her first boyfriend and wasn't told. Our daughter is 16 now, and I don't feel like it's necessary to punish her for these things when she has made a conscious decision to protect her privacy. I know she still loves her mom, but I understand not sharing things she doesn't want to get spread or blown out of proportion. I came home to my wife yelling at our daughter and demanding her phone, her laptop, etc. all over this situation, which made me very angry because my daughter was in tears and she is still my little girl and doesn't deserve to be punished over something her own mother caused. I told my wife to leave her alone and that we would talk, but I also told her to give back the items, which my wife refused on and started screaming at me in front of our daughter, something I don't like. I like to have calm conversations away from our daughter to prevent making her feel scared or uncomfortable. Eventually, after multiple attempts to calm her down so we could discuss this properly, she grabbed my arm and started digging her nails in my skin, and I had enough boo then. I started ranting about how she always told our daughter's business to people, and how basically the whole family and friends around us knew everything about our daughter's personal life and medical history. And then I told her it was her fault our daughter doesn't trust her anymore, which made my wife start crying, and she locked herself in the bedroom while I started comforting our daughter and went out to get her some dinner. But now I'm home and I'm getting some serious silent treatment from my wife, and I'm wondering if I could have possibly said something different. But I'm tired of her blaming our daughter every time she doesn't get told something. Edit. I have read many comments talking about my wife, and I am seriously taking this all in. I really don't want my daughter to think this is okay for her future husband to treat her this way. So I am requesting my wife attends therapy by herself before she can join me and my daughter in family therapy, because I am not putting my daughter in a situation where her mother will probably use the therapy sessions to punish her, which people have mentioned. If she refuses, I will look into separation, because I have realized my daughter needs her dad to keep her safe, and she won't be safe if her mother is acting this way and normalizing this behavior. I am scared for my future, honestly, but I am also hopeful that I can show my daughter she is loved and safe. I will be sending my daughter to stay with her aunt for the rest of the week while I have this conversation, because I am not taking any chances that she'll have to listen to an argument between me and my wife. Not the a-hole, but when your daughter gets her devices back, tell her to change all of her passwords to her social media. Her mom is too involved in her business and is the true definition of your parent being your biggest hater. She is going out of her way to embarrass your daughter. Opie replies, "Don't worry, I got her devices back immediately after the fight because I refuse to punish my daughter for having a life outside of family. I will tell her to change her passwords though. That is something I didn't think about before, but I don't doubt that my wife would try this in a desperate attempt to find out things." Next story. Would I be the a-hole for reporting a male nurse who is making me uncomfortable? I, 27F, have been in the hospital for a few days. There is a nurse, 20M, I've had during the day who keeps flirting. We are from the same ethnicity, and he only speaks to me in our native language, I assume, so people around can't understand. The first time we met, he asked if I was married. I said no. He asked about a boyfriend. I said no to that as well. He then said, "Wow, how you are so beautiful yet single." I just laughed it off, but I felt uncomfortable about it. My family came to see me, and the nurse introduced himself, and they liked him because he could communicate with them. My parents don't speak English well. My parents made a joke about setting us up together. He was like, "I would love to be set up with your pretty girl," and my parents laughed. Earlier today, he said, "It looks like you will be discharged soon. Can I have your number? I want to take you out on a date once you're out of here. I'm approved by your parents." I said sorry, but I am not interested. Then he was like, "Come on, give me a chance. Don't be like that." He kept pushing, and I just said, "Okay, I'll think about it," as a way to get him to leave me alone. I've been feeling uncomfortable my whole hospital stay, but I don't want to cause job loss, especially in this economy. Should I report him for this? Not the a-hole. Healthcare worker here. Please report it. You're definitely not the only patient he's done this to if he's a newer employee. You may be the first, but definitely not the last. And honestly, he's probably also targeted his coworkers. That said, sexual harassment among coworkers is rarely taken seriously in medical fields. The number of times I, as well as other females, have been harassed by male coworkers is insane, though it is often written off by upper management who are very often men. Surprise, surprise. Reports by patients are often taken much more seriously as at that point, the hospital is being opened up to possible lawsuits, and you'd be doing everyone a huge favor. If he just complimented you once or twice, that would be different, though still inappropriate. But come on, give me a chance. Don't be like that is where he very much crosses the line. He knew you weren't interested and didn't care. He crossed that boundary willingly. Someone like that should not be in the profession, and anyone who doesn't care about even the most basic boundaries, especially in a profession where they work with vulnerable populations, is dangerous. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancée her tattoo of my dead brother makes me uncomfortable? First time Redditor here. Okay, so for context, my older brother, 30M while in 29M, passed away 3 years ago in a motorcycle accident. This FC'd me up severely, still does. He was my best friend, and we had that whole inseparable since we knew each other type crap. Even if he was older, he was never the stereotypical older brother bully sort, and I loved him for that. Anyway, my fiancée, who I'll call Bella, is 28F, and met him only a few times, but always said she admired our bond as she has no real siblings of her own. Only step, but they aren't close. A few weeks ago, Bella surprised me with a tattoo she got in memory of my brother. It's this pretty big, realistic grayscale tattoo of his face with a little Snoopy icon beside it on her upper arm, with his nickname we use and his birth and death dates underneath. When I saw this, I was stunned. She said she did it as a tribute to him and to support me because she knows how much I still struggle with grief. I honestly didn't know what to say at first, but the more I sat with it, the more it bothered me. I told her gently, as much as I could TBH, that I appreciated the gesture but found the tattoo really uncomfortable. Like it's unsettling to see his face on my fiancé's body. Like it's too much, especially since they barely knew each other. She got upset and said I was being weird about a nice gesture and making her regret doing something beautiful, her words. Now she's distant, and my mom thinks I should just be thankful someone loved my brother enough to memorialize him. But first off, I didn't ask her to do this. Now I'm stuck with a fiancé that won't even talk to me properly, and my brother's perfectly black and gray eyes staring at me when I'm laying beside her. And honestly, I don't even want to think of how horrifying having sex would be with that on her arm. Am I being unreasonable? Is it in my right to ask her to get it covered up or like zoinked off? I am adding some additional details because I don't know how to respond individually. My fiancé and I both have tattoos, and many of them, I have smaller ones, she has bigger ones. To my knowledge, neither of us are mentally ill in any capacity, and we aren't on medication. I can't believe I have to write this, and ever since my reaction, she has been wearing longer sleeved shirts in the daytime. At work she has to anyway. But that's for home too. It's only during bedtime that I really see it with her wearing tanks, and it physically hurts, lol. Not the a-hole. That's a wild overstep on her part. It's one thing to support you through grief. It's another to permanently tattoo your brother's face on her body when they barely knew each other. That's not a tribute. That's weirdly possessive of your grief and your bond with him. You have every right to feel uncomfortable seeing your late brother's face on your fiancé's arm every day, especially in intimate situations. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate the sentiment, it just crosses a line. She should have asked you before making such a huge decision involving someone so personal to you. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure comment, share, and subscribe the channel, our posts.